Every year, millions of seniors walk out of their checkups thinking everything is fine. But a few days later, some end up in the ER with a stroke they never saw coming. You trust your doctor, you follow their orders, but what if one routine test was quietly raising your stroke risk overnight? Before your next appointment, watch this. What you'll learn in the next few minutes could protect your brain, your speech, and your independence. Stay with me, because we'll uncover 5 routine medical tests that may carry hidden stroke risks, and I'll show you the exact questions to ask your doctor so you can stay safe. Type yes in the comments if you've ever had a CT scan, stress test, or colonoscopy. I read every reply. You do everything right. You keep up with appointments, take your medicines, follow your doctor's advice. And still, something feels off. You notice your blood pressure creeping up. Your balance isn't quite the same. Maybe you've had moments of dizziness that scare you. It feels unfair. You're doing your part, but your body feels more fragile than it used to. What if the very tests meant to protect you are quietly adding stress to your system, spiking your blood pressure, straining your heart, and setting the stage for a stroke? Here's the good news. With the right questions, you can keep the benefits of modern medicine while avoiding these hidden risks. In the next few minutes, we'll uncover which routine tests deserve a second look and how to protect your brain before your next appointment. Comment below if you've ever felt worse after a routine test. Your story could help another viewer know what to watch for. Stroke is still the second leading cause of death worldwide and one of the top causes of disability in seniors. Every 40 seconds, someone has a stroke. Every 3.5 minutes, someone dies from one. Most people think stroke is random, something that just happens. But research shows that certain triggers, like sudden blood pressure spikes, vascular stress, and medication interactions, can push a vulnerable brain over the edge. And here's the part no one talks about. Some of those triggers happen right after routine medical tests. A simple contrast injection, a treadmill stress test, even light sedation can stress the system just enough to set off a chain reaction. This is why so many seniors say, "I was fine before that procedure, and then everything changed." It's not just bad luck. Sometimes it's cause and effect. The good news? Once you know which tests carry these risks, you can prepare, protect yourself, and still get the care you need without putting your brain in danger. In the next module, we'll look at the first common test that might raise stroke risk and the exact questions to ask your doctor before saying yes. Think back to your last checkup. How many tests, scans, or procedures did you go through without even asking why? For most of us, it's automatic. The doctor recommends a scan, we nod yes. The nurse hands us a form, we sign it. We trust the system because we want to stay healthy. But what if some of those tests are being done too often or without checking if they're safe for someone your age, your blood pressure, or your medications? That's when an otherwise harmless scan can create the perfect storm, spiking your blood pressure, straining your heart, and setting the stage for a stroke. Tell me in the comments, have you ever felt worse after a routine test? Your story could help another viewer know what to watch for. Let's look at the first test that might be quietly raising stroke risk and how to make it safer before your next appointment. Test number 1. Contrast CT scans. CT scans with contrast can be life-saving, but for some seniors, they can also be the spark that sets off a dangerous chain reaction. When the contrast dye is injected, it doesn't just light up your blood vessels for the camera. It also puts sudden stress on your heart, your kidneys, and your blood pressure. Studies in the Journal of Vascular and Interventional Radiology show older adults face a significantly higher risk of vascular complications within 72 hours of a contrast-enhanced CT, especially if they have high blood pressure, kidney disease, or heart issues. Story: an 81-year-old patient of mine went for a routine abdominal CT. The scan came back normal, but just 2 days later, he suffered a minor stroke. His doctors believe the sudden blood pressure spike from the contrast dye may have triggered a clot. This is why so many seniors say, "I was fine before that scan." It's not just bad luck. Sometimes it's the test itself, putting strain on an already vulnerable system. This doesn't mean you should avoid CT scans. They can save lives. But it does mean you should use them wisely and take precautions.
Actionable questions to ask. Before your next CT scan, Ask your doctor, is this scan essential or just routine? Can we try it without contrast? Have my kidneys been checked recently? What can we do to keep my blood pressure stable before and after? Comment CT if you've ever had a contrast scan and tell me how you felt afterward. Your experience could help someone else. Now, let's move to the second common test that might put your heart and brain under more strain than you think. Test number 2, treadmill stress test. A treadmill stress test sounds harmless, just walking while your heart is monitored. But for some seniors, this simple test can become dangerous. During the test, your heart rate and blood pressure rise sharply. For healthy adults, that's fine. But for someone over 60 with stiff arteries or undiagnosed heart problems, this sudden strain can push the system too far. A 2020 study in the American Journal of Cardiology followed patients over 65 who had treadmill stress tests. Nearly 7% experienced harmful events, blood pressure spikes, irregular rhythms, or even mini strokes within 24 hours. Story: Margaret, 74, went for her test just to check in. Halfway through the treadmill portion, she felt dizzy and her chest tightened. The next day, she suffered a mild stroke. Doctors believe the sudden blood pressure surge during the test ruptured a tiny vessel in her brain. This isn't rare. Most seniors don't even know this risk exists until they've already had a scare. You don't have to skip heart testing altogether. There are safer ways to check your heart health without overstressing it. Actionable questions to ask. Before a stress test, ask, do I actually need this test right now, or is it just routine? Can we do a chemical stress test instead, using medication to simulate exercise? Can we start slow and monitor closely for pressure spikes? Type stress in the comments if you've ever had this test and share how you felt afterward. Coming up next, we'll look at a procedure almost every senior is offered at some point, one that's usually safe, but when combined with sedation and blood thinners can quietly raise stroke risk. Test number 3, sedated endoscopy. An endoscopy or colonoscopy is considered routine after 60, but when sedation is involved, it can quietly stress your brain and circulation. Sedation lowers your blood pressure and slows circulation. For most people, that's not a problem. But combine that with blood thinners like aspirin, Plavix, or warfarin, and the risk of a clot moving or a bleed forming quietly goes up. A 2020 review in gastroenteritis endoscopy found a significant rise in transient ischemic attacks, or mini-strokes, within 72 hours of sedated procedures. Story: Joan, 76, went in for a routine colonoscopy. No symptoms, just screening. 2 days later, she had slurred speech and struggled to walk. The ER confirmed a mild stroke. Doctors suspect the drop in blood pressure during sedation allowed a clot to travel to her brain. This risk is rarely explained, leaving many seniors blindsided when symptoms appear days later. You don't have to fear these procedures, but you do need to prepare for them. Actionable questions to ask. Before agreeing to sedation, ask your doctor, do I truly need this test now, or is it just routine? Can we do this procedure without sedation or with lighter sedation? Do I need to pause my blood thinner before this? How will you monitor my blood pressure during the procedure? Comment SAFE below if you've ever had an endoscopy or colonoscopy. Did anyone explain the risks before sedation? Next, we'll talk about a test many people think is the safest of all, but when contrast is used, it can leave traces in the brain and kidneys that may quietly affect your health. Test number 4, MRI with contrast. MRI scans are considered the safest imaging tool we have, but when contrast dye is added, it can leave traces in the body, sometimes even in the brain. The contrast dye used in MRIs contains gadolinium, a heavy metal designed to wash out of your system through the kidneys. But after 60, kidney function slows down, and in people with even mild kidney disease, gadolinium can linger. Research published in Radiology found that gadolinium can remain in brain tissue months after a contrast MRI, and some patients reported dizziness, confusion, or balance problems in the days following their scan. Story: Harold, 79, had an MRI with contrast for back pain. 2 days later, he felt lightheaded, weak, and foggy. Labs later revealed undiagnosed stage 3 kidney disease. He told me, "No one warned me. I would have asked more questions if I knew." This is what makes contrast MRIs risky. You often don't feel the effects until days later, and by then it's too late to prevent the reaction. You don't have to skip MRIs, but you should protect yourself by getting one simple blood test first.
Actionable questions to ask. Before an MRI with contrast, ask, can we do this without contrast? Can we run a kidney function test, GFR, first to make sure my body can clear it? Have I had previous contrast scans recently that might still be in my system? Type MRI in the comments if you ever had a contrast scan and share if you felt different afterward. Now let's look at a test that seems completely harmless, but for many seniors, it leads to risky surgeries that may not even be necessary. Test number 5, carotid artery ultrasound. A carotid ultrasound feels like the safest test there is, just a quick scan of the neck. No needles, no pain. But for many seniors, it can lead to a surgery they never actually needed. Carotid ultrasounds detect plaque buildup in the arteries that feed your brain. Finding severe narrowing is important, but here's the problem. Most mild or moderate narrowing doesn't need surgery. It can often be managed with medication and lifestyle changes. A major study in the New England Journal of Medicine followed thousands of seniors with 50 to 69% narrowing but no symptoms. Most did just as well with medication as with surgery. In fact, some patients who had surgery suffered strokes during the procedure. Story: Helen, 82, went for a checkup. She felt fine. Her doctor ordered a carotid ultrasound just to be safe. It showed 65% narrowing. Within weeks, she had surgery, but during recovery, she suffered a mild stroke that left her with permanent weakness in her right arm. She told me, "I wish I had known I could have just watched and waited." This is why unnecessary scans can be risky. They can start a cascade of tests, referrals, and procedures that put you in more danger than the original problem. You have the right to slow things down, ask questions, and get a second opinion before agreeing to any vascular surgery. Actionable questions to ask. Before saying yes to a carotid ultrasound or procedure, ask, do I have symptoms that suggest my arteries are blocked? If we find narrowing, what's the plan? Surgery, medication, or just monitoring? Can I get a second opinion before making a decision? Comment check if you've ever had this scan and share if your doctor recommended surgery afterward. Now that we've looked at 5 common tests and their hidden risks, let's talk about how to prepare for any future checkup so you can protect your brain and stay in control. Building a safe medical plan. You don't have to fear every test, you just have to prepare for them. The safest seniors are the ones who ask questions before saying yes. Preparation checklist. Here's what to do before your next appointment. Bring a full list of all your medications, including over-the-counter pills and supplements. Write down your health history. Blood pressure, kidney issues, previous reactions to dye or anesthesia. Ask your doctor what each test is for and whether it's essential right now. Request the safest version possible. No contrast if it's not needed, lighter sedation, slower treadmill speed. Because saying yes without knowing the risks can mean saying yes to something that raises your blood pressure, dislodges a clot, or stresses your arteries when they least need it. Doctors appreciate informed patients. The more you ask, the safer and more personalized your care becomes. Story: Maggie told me she now brings a notebook to every appointment. She writes down what the doctor says, asks if there are safer options, and even double-checks her test results. She said, "For the first time in years, I feel in control of my health, not just a passenger." What's one question you wish you had asked your doctor before a test? Share it below. Your story could save someone else's brain. In the next module, we'll build a simple routine that keeps your blood pressure, circulation, and brain health strong, so even if you need tests, your body is ready to handle them. Brain and blood pressure pre-test routine. Preparing your body before a test is like putting on a seatbelt. It lowers the risk if anything unexpected happens. Drink water the night before and the morning of your test, unless told otherwise. Proper hydration keeps your blood pressure stable and helps flush out contrast dyes faster.
Choose a light, balanced meal with protein and healthy fats. Avoid heavy, salty foods that can spike your blood pressure. Take 5 slow, deep breaths before the test begins. Research shows this simple habit can lower heart rate and blood pressure by up to 10 points. Ask your doctor whether you should take blood pressure pills or blood thinners before the test. Timing matters. Have a trusted family member or friend come with you if possible. They can help you ask questions and stay calm. Story: James, 78, used this exact routine before his MRI. He said, "For the first time, I felt steady and relaxed going in. No dizziness after, no blood pressure spikes." You can't control all variables, but you can give your brain and body the best possible starting point. Comment "Ready" if you want me to share a printable checklist of this pre-test routine in our next video. In the next module, we'll shift from preparation to daily habits, the foods and routines that naturally keep arteries flexible and brains well-fed.
Brain and artery-friendly daily habits. Strong brain health doesn't come from one test or one pill. It comes from what you do every single day. Daily habit number 1. Morning. Start each morning with gentle movement. Even 5 to 10 minutes of walking or stretching boosts circulation and lowers blood pressure before the day begins. Daily habit number 2. Colorful. Fill half your plate with colorful vegetables and fruits. The antioxidants keep arteries flexible and protect brain cells from damage. Daily habit number 3. Omega-3. Include fish twice a week or add plant-based sources like chia seeds and walnuts. Omega-3s reduce inflammation and improve blood flow to the brain. Daily habit number 4. Salt. Keep sodium in check. Too much salt is one of the fastest ways to raise blood pressure and your stroke risk. Daily habit number 5. Deep sleep. Protect your 7 to 8 hours of rest. Sleep is when the brain clears out toxins and resets blood pressure patterns. Story: Maria, 80, adopted these habits after her mini-stroke. She said, "It's like giving my brain a daily tune-up. My energy and focus came back." Your brain and arteries can heal when you give them the right environment, no matter your age. Comment daily if you'd like me to share a free 7-day brain health meal plan you can follow right away. Next, we'll dive into the science, what researchers have discovered about tests, blood pressure spikes, and stroke risk that every senior should know. Let's take a moment to understand what's really happening inside the body, because knowing the science can help you stay safer. When your blood pressure surges suddenly, fragile arteries in the brain are put under intense stress. This can rupture a tiny vessel or dislodge a clot that was sitting quietly, leading to a stroke or mini-stroke. Contrast dye increases circulation demand, and sedation can drop blood pressure too low. Both create sudden shifts that the aging brain may not handle as well as it did at 40. If your carotid arteries are partially blocked, these pressure swings can temporarily reduce blood flow to the brain, like turning down a faucet that's already half closed. Researchers at Harvard and the American Stroke Association confirmed that sudden hemodynamic changes, big swings in pressure and heart rate, are a leading trigger for strokes in older adults. Dr. Lee, a stroke neurologist, once told me, "It's not just the blockage, it's the moment the system gets shocked that tips on over the edge." The good news is, when you prepare your body, hydrate well, stabilize your pressure, and ask for safer testing options, you can dramatically reduce this risk. Type science in the comments if you want me to share the links to the studies I mentioned today so you can read them for yourself. Up next, we'll share real-life stories from seniors who took these precautions and how it changed their outcomes. Real-life success stories. Sometimes the most powerful lessons come from real people, seniors who ask the right questions and change their outcome. Story 1. Robert, 80, was scheduled for a CT scan with contrast, but after asking for a kidney test first, doctors found early kidney impairment. They switched to a non-contrast scan, and he avoided a dangerous reaction. He told me, "That one question might have saved my life." Story 2. Elaine, 27, requested a chemical stress test instead of the treadmill version after learning about the risks. Her heart was safely evaluated without putting dangerous strain on her blood pressure. Story 3. George, 80, was told he had 60% carotid artery narrowing. Instead of rushing into surgery, he got a second opinion. The new doctor recommended medication and monitoring. And 3 years later, his arteries are stable and he's had 0 strokes. These stories remind us that saying yes too quickly can put you at risk, but speaking up can change everything. You have more power than you think. You can slow things down, get another opinion, and choose the safest path for your body. Have you ever caught a mistake or asked a question that changed the doctor's decision? Share it in the comments. Your story might give someone else the courage to speak up. In the next module, we'll put all this together into a simple checklist you can take to every appointment. The ultimate doctor visit checklist. You don't have to memorize everything we've talked about. Here is a simple checklist you can take with you to every appointment so you walk in confident and walk out protected. Checklist item number 1. Ask why now. Before saying yes to any scan or test, ask, why do I need this today? What will it change about my treatment? If the answer isn't clear, it may not be urgent. Checklist item number 2. Ask about safer options. Always ask, can we do this without contrast? Can we use lighter sedation? Can we try a slower or chemical stress test? The safest version is often available, but only if you request it. Checklist item number 3. Review medications. Tell your doctor about every pill you take, prescriptions, over-the-counter, and supplements. Some tests require pausing blood thinners, and some supplements can raise risks. Checklist item number 4. Plan your day. Schedule your tests early in the day if possible so you're well rested and hydrated. Arrange a ride if sedation is involved. Clara said she now carries a small cart with her meds, allergies, and key questions. She said, doctors take me more seriously and I feel safer every time. This isn't about saying no to tests. It's about saying yes with full confidence. Would you like me to create a printable version of this checklist for your next appointment? Type checklist in the comments. Next, we'll focus on how to keep your brain resilient day to day, so even if you do face a test, your risk stays lower. Strengthening brain resilience daily. Strong brain health isn't built in the doctor's office. It's built in your kitchen, your living room, and your daily choices. Step 1. Daily circulation boost. Take a brisk 10-minute walk in the morning or after meals. Movement keeps blood flowing smoothly and helps prevent clots. Strong brain boosting foods. Include at least one brain protective food daily. Berries, leafy greens.
Ask, what's the goal of this test? Are there risks for someone my age? Is there a safer alternative? Step 3. Repeat back what you hear. Say, just to confirm, you're recommending this test because. This ensures you fully understand and catches any miscommunication. Step 4. Bring a support person. A second set of ears can catch details you might miss and help you feel less pressured. Henry, 77, started recording these questions on a notepad and read them out loud at the start of each visit. His doctor told him, "This makes my job easier. Now I know exactly what matters most to you." When you build a partnership with your doctor, you stop feeling like a passive patient and start feeling like an active decision maker. Comment voice if you want me to create a free printable sheet of doctor conversation starters you can take to your next appointment. Next, we'll focus on what to do if a doctor recommends a test you're unsure of, without feeling guilty or pressured to say yes right away. Saying no, or even just not yet, can feel uncomfortable. Many seniors worry they'll upset their doctor or miss something urgent, but protecting your brain sometimes means pressing pause. Say, is this test urgent or can it wait? If it's not time sensitive, you have space to think, research, and discuss with your family. Doctors respect when you want more information. You can say, I'd like to review this with another specialist before we proceed. Sometimes a less invasive scan, a blood test, or even a simple watch and wait approach can provide the same answers without the risk.
because once a test is done or a surgery is scheduled, you can't undo it. Taking one extra day to think could prevent months of recovery from an unnecessary procedure. Evelyn, 74, was scheduled for a carotid stent after a routine ultrasound showed narrowing. She asked if it was urgent, got a second opinion, and learned she could manage it with medication instead. 3 years later, she's stroke-free and grateful she waited. You're not being difficult, you're being careful. Good doctors appreciate patients who take time to make informed decisions. Comment "not yet" if you've ever delayed a test or procedure and we're glad you did. In the next module, we'll talk about building a long-term health plan, one that lowers your stroke risk and keeps you out of the emergency rooms. Building your long-term brain protection plan. Health isn't just about reacting to problems. It's about building a system that keeps you strong year after year. Step 1. Annual brain and artery check. Plan one yearly appointment focused only on brain health. Review blood pressure trends, cholesterol, carotid health, and memory screenings together. Step 2. Medication and supplement review. Bring every pill and bottle you take, even vitamins. Ask if anything is outdated, unnecessary, or potentially risky. Step 3. Safer testing calendar. Work with your doctor to create a testing schedule that avoids back-to-back procedures and minimizes exposure to contrast dyes or sedation. Step 4. Build your support team. Include a family member or trusted friend in your health decisions. Having an advocate makes stressful moments easier. Step 5. Lifestyle blueprint. Keep your daily brain protection habits consistent. Movement, hydration, stress control, colorful foods, and quality sleep. Ron, 82, created a one-page health plan with his doctor and taped it to his fridge. He said, "For the first time, I feel like I'm leading the plan, not just reacting to problems."
With a plan in place, every appointment feels purposeful, and every test is chosen with care, not fear. Would you like me to share a printable version of this health plan template? Comment "plan" and I'll include it in a future video. In the next module, we'll share the emotional side, how to replace fear with confidence so you never feel rushed into a medical decision again. It's natural to feel anxious before a scan or test. Many seniors lose sleep worrying about what might be found or what could go wrong. Think of each test as information, not a verdict. Information gives you choices. Choices give you control. Take 5 slow breaths before walking into any appointment. Deep breathing lowers blood pressure and helps you think clearly. Keep one phrase ready. Can you explain that in plain language? This single question turns confusion into clarity. You can't control every health outcome, but you can control your preparation, your questions, and your follow-up decisions. Fear can actually raise blood pressure, making tests riskier. The calmer you are, the safer your experience will be. Nina, 76, used to dread MRIs. Now she takes 2 minutes of guided breathing before every scan. She says it's like switching my brain from panic to peace. You can train your mind to feel safer, just like you train your muscles. Each calm, informed choice makes the next one easier. Type "calm" if you'd like me to record a short breathing exercise you can play on your phone before tests or appointments. In the next module, we'll share a rapid recap of everything we've learned today. A quick guide to protect your brain from unnecessary risk. Rapid recap, your stroke-safe checklist. Let's quickly bring it all together so you leave today with a clear plan and no overwhelm. Step 1. Know the 5 risky tests. Contrast CT, treadmill stress test, sedated endoscopy, contrast MRI, and unnecessary carotid ultrasounds. Step 2. Ask 3 key questions before any test. Why now? Can we do it without contrast or sedation? And how will this change my treatment? Step 3. Watch for silent stroke triggers. Dehydration, pressure spikes, over-supplementing, long sitting periods, and unmanaged stress. Step 4. Build your ritual. Stay hydrated, move daily, track blood pressure weekly, review meds yearly, and keep your questions written down. Margaret told me she keeps this checklist on her fridge. She said, "It reminds me I have control. I'm not just waiting for bad news." With these steps, you're not just avoiding risk, you're actively protecting your brain, your independence, and your future. Would you like me to make this recap a downloadable PDF you can keep with your medical papers? Comment PDF below. In our final module, we'll wrap up with a strong message of hope and give you a peek at the next video in this brain health series. You now have the knowledge to walk into any appointment with confidence. You know the 5 tests to think twice about, the questions to ask, and the habits that protect your brain every single day. Your health isn't just in the hands of doctors, it's in your hands too. Every question you ask, every habit you build, every glass of water you drink makes your brain safer. The goal isn't just to avoid strokes, it's to stay sharp, independent, and active for decades to come. In our next video, we'll reveal a surprising bedtime habit that helps improve blood flow to the brain and lowers nighttime stroke risk. You don't want to miss this one. Give this video a like if it helped you feel more confident about your health decisions. Share it with someone you love. You might just protect them from a silent risk. And hit subscribe to Health 365 so we can keep learning and growing together. Stay strong, stay curious, and remember, informed choices are your brain's best protection. I'll see you in the next video.